Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me as he does every week from TheRinger.com is Dave Jacoby. Jacoby!
What's happening, Verno?
All right, so we got a bunch of stuff to get to. It's been a fun week, but unfortunately, the NBA season has already been marred by injuries. We did not get one of the best players of the season to play yet, though he is supposed to make his debut this week in Joel Embiid. But it feels like we're like 10 games into the year. Paolo Banchero's already out. John Morant's out. Zion Williamson's out. Chet Holmgren is out. Really, the whole Pelicans team was out. Tyrese Maxey is out. I mean, it feels like we can't watch it. DeJounte Murray at the very beginning of the season. Yeah, I mean, and it feels like we can't even watch a game without having to worry about this now. And so, inevitably, as these injuries keep piling up, especially to even young players, there's going to be a whole round of theories that come around again. Some of them are, of course, freak accidents. And then, as I talked to you about a few weeks ago, I have really wondered about the deloading that has gone on and what impact that has. I mean, this is all going to be stuff that is going to be hashed through. It's going to be probably pretty boring for people to hash through it because in the end, we just don't want guys being injured. But I was telling somebody yesterday, sometimes when I think about stories of the past and when I first started covering the NBA, it feels like I'm talking about like Bear Bryant and the Junction Boys, right? But it was really just like 15, 20 years ago that, Mike Fratello's having a training camp that I'm covering, and it's 2 weeks, and it's 2-a-days. And then it's a preseason. And then the season begins. And I do wonder if there is going to be some kind of look back and say, hey, how were guys, given the travel now, given the nutrition now, given all the things we have, how were we seemingly having guys, even at, in their 30s, playing an extended amount of minutes with 4 and 5 nights, with 25 back-to-backs, like all of those things, and yet the injuries seem worse now. In the end, most people don't care how it comes about. I think maybe what we can hope is that there's going to be some kind of real self-reflection that goes on, and maybe it will lead to healthier. I know there's all kinds of theories. These guys play a million games. There's only so many miles. These guys are so athletic. The game is played different now. But all I know is, I think as an NBA fan, I think you'll agree, Jacoby, it sucks to be watching these games and be worried every time a guy hits the ground that we might not get to watch him play for a month.
It sucks. And this week has been tough, especially for injuries. But, trying to be positive here. Like, we're trying to be positive.
Yeah.
Not a lot of these are like season enders.
That's right.
There's not a lot of just like, oh, gone for the year. We'll see him next year, see what happens next fall. So that part's something to look up to. But there's some impactful ones. Like we talked about Banchero and how much he does for the Magic, and now you see it without him. You're like, whoa. And with Chet, like you saw what the Thunder put out on the court. They had 5 starters that literally were my height. They were all my height. I think Shea was the tallest starter in the game. And they're going up against the Clippers and Zubac, and it's like they're just trying to do whatever they can. I think from the Thunder, you're going to see really, really small lineups, and they're just going to just be pests, just defensive pests.
Well, even at the end of that game, they're up by 5. They throw the ball down to Zubac, and I think it was Jalen Williams. One of the guys just grabs his shorts, and it was tug on him. And then Zubac finishes it, and they're like, and 1. And I was like, that was a crisis. You can't, you're up 5. It's the only thing you can't do. And so they're just going to have to mix and match and figure it out. Obviously, Gilgeous-Alexander went huge last night. A couple things worth mentioning from last night. The Nets-Pelicans. I want to mention this because I thought this was so funny. I flipped it over and was watching it on League Pass because I saw it was coming down to the end. I'm texting you about it because this is the game. And you said, I'm listening to the Nets game on the radio I refuse to pay for the Nets. And okay, so you've got to explain this to me, why you can't see the Nets on television.
Well, they've got this thing. So there's the MSG network, which the Knicks are on. This Yes network that the Nets are on, and they've come together for this like Gotham Sports app. It's called, right? And there's different tiers, and you can buy the tier which just brings you the Knicks, or you can buy the tier that brings you the Knicks and the Nets. And I'm so pissed that I have to pay extra for the Knicks games that I was just like, no chance. I was like, I'll be fine without the Nets games. But then when you see it's close at the end against the Pelicans, I was like, oh, I want to see what happens. So then I click on it to listen to it, right, with the NBA app, because I was watching the football game on the TV, so I had it on my phone, and then they had a review at the end, and like reviews are terrible vibe killers when you're watching the game, but listening on the radio, you can't even like see the replays. So they're just like chit-chatting, talking about some play. I forget, I think it was off somebody or somebody else. And the reviews are excruciating when you're listening to the audio. Excruciating.
Okay, so what happened is at the end of the game, there's this three that takes place, and then they can't figure it out. So then there's a jump ball, and the jump ball gets hit out, and the Pelicans hit it out, right? I am watching on the Pelicans feed. And so, the crushing blow that it is when your TV crew has the replay, they show the replay in slow-mo, and you're like, oh no, it's out on us, right? And so they're like, yep, that's out on, right? Okay. That happens within, I don't know, a 30 to 40 second span. They say, oh no, it's out on us. This review takes no less than 6 real-time minutes. I have no idea what is going on. And it's Joe Myers and Antonio Daniels are the announcers for the New Orleans Pelicans. And so that now for 5 minutes, they're just bitching about how this happens like every night. Why do the reviews take so long? What is going on here? And I'll give you credit to Antonio Daniels because I literally laughed out loud when the referee goes up to the thing and he goes, it has been ruled. It is out on New Orleans, Brooklyn ball. And Antonio Daniels yells, we knew that 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh, come on. And then, of course, they inbounded, game's over. So, like, everybody saw it. Not only are they salty, by the way, there was 2.5 seconds left in the game. And so it drug out this misery of them having to talk about it, and the Pelicans are dropped to 3-8 or whatever their record is or whatever. And, I know there's injuries, but you got to be able to protect your home court, when you're playing a team like Brooklyn. It's like, it's like they're having to talk about this miserable existence, which is that we're about to lose to the Brooklyn Nets on a ball that just happened to go out of bounds on a tip. And the refs took like 10 minutes to do it. It was torturous.
When you see the replay, it usually takes about 1 or 2, and then exactly what happened. They should all be much, much shorter. They always say like I used to have a joke. It was a woman knows whether or not she's going to sleep with a man in the first 30 seconds. And I'm like, what are you thinking for the other 27 seconds? I know 1 second, and I feel the same way with replays. But the Pelicans in particular, we talked about injuries a second ago. The Pelicans, it's comical. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And the Zion thing is just
the worst. We're going to get to a bunch of these when we go through our Is It Real things that have happened so far, whether or not we believe in them or not. But that Nets-Pelicans game was going on. The Cavs remained undefeated by virtue of winning last night. The Rockets stomped out the Washington. The Thunder, as we mentioned, got a little dicey there at the end, but they were able to win their first game without Chet Holmgren in the lineup. SGA was great in that game. And then before we move on to our subject of this week.
Oh, no.
What was the name of that band? Who was the name of that band? What was the name of that band that said, it's too late to apologize. It's too late. Do you remember that band?
No idea.
Yeah, you do.
I know the song. I have
You know
no
that
idea
song.
who sings that. I know the song.
Huh?
Oh, I know what you're doing now. You're going to make me apologize about Victor Wembanyama. That's what you're going to do.
It was Timberland featuring One Republic.
Oh, of course it was.
Yes. And yes, I am going to make you apologize to Victor Wembanyama, who you have besmirched, who you have called Lose Benyama, who you have raked over the coals for early season struggles, less than 10 games the guys played. And then by game 11, I present to you that the Spurs had a 20-point win against the Sacramento Kings. Victor Wembanyama, 34 points, 13 of 22 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal.
Just listen, we're binfluencers here. Because I started getting on Wembanyama 2 weeks ago. Everyone started catching up last week, and then he responds with a performance like that. He looked great. And again, I'm never going to say that Victor Wembanyama is not going to be a great player. He's going to be a future MVP, future face of the league. I'm just saying, and just like everyone else is, he's taking way too many threes. He doesn't use his size around the rim as much as he should. Every time he sets a pick, he doesn't pick and roll. He picks and pops. And not only does he take too many threes, he takes deep, deep, deep threes. Really deep threes. I love what he does on defense. I want to see him get more rebounds and take less threes and just be bigger. Just be bigger and stronger. Use your size.
I've got to wonder here. You sound a lot like opposing anonymous GM or whatever that was. That
the
quote
scout,
that came
out.
Opposing anonymous scout says Victor Wembanyama is like,
the people are. It's like he's shooting 22% from 3, and people are like, opposing scout says that they don't mind when Victor Wembanyama shoots threes. Of course not. He's taking 7'6", he's taking 30-foot threes at a 19% clip. Of course you don't mind.
He's coming around though. Last night was the beginning. Last night was the beginning of the breakout. Yep. All right, so we have had, virtually
Give Vassell back is huge for them too.
For sure. 9 to 11 games, roughly, that have been played by every team. And there are a lot of happenings that have taken place already in the NBA. We are going to decide on 5 things we think that are real, things that have happened thus far that we believe are, in fact, going to end up being true. You want to start or you want me to?
You start.
The only thing that can stop Jokic from winning a 4th MVP in 5 years is him getting hurt. This is madness because every year we debate, like, is he the best player? What does it mean to be the most valuable? Like, I don't know how anybody can watch the Nuggets. Like, every win they have, it takes every bit of these just video game stats. The other night they win by 2 against the Mavs, the 122-120 win. 37, 18, and 15. Now, by the way, Jacoby, let's just say I'm playing the Nuggets tomorrow night, right? My entire game plan, theoretically, is, hey, let's slow this guy down. Especially when you're a team that has met with him in the playoffs and seen him a bunch. So far this season, he is averaging 29.7 points, 13.7 rebounds, 11.7 assists, shooting 56% from the field and 56% from 3. He is also
56% from 3.
And he's never played over 35 minutes in a season. He's averaging 38. So he's playing 38 minutes every night, and he is leading the league. He's like at the top in rebounds. He's at the top in assists, and he's right
leading
there
in rebound
scoring.
Assists.
He could very well lead in every category.
Triple-double.
Yes. He could lead in every category, too. He could lead the league in the 3 major categories. And the craziest thing is his team around him has obviously gotten worse. And now they lose Aaron Gordon in the process. And you keep on thinking like, okay, well, like the answer is typically next man up. like just, all right, well, Aaron Gordon's out, next man up. Somebody's got to step up. That's the way basketball teams work. Everybody's got injuries. Somebody's got to step up. It's like every time somebody goes down or anytime anybody gets traded or they take something out of that lineup, or frankly, if he's out there with 4 bench guys, the answer is never somebody else steps up. It's just he does more.
Every time. Every time.
And somehow, like at some point, it's got to run out. Like at some point, he can't do more.
Oh, I don't know.
But that time is not now.
What? So that stat line was at 38, 36, 18, and 15.
37.
Right? 37, 18, and 15, right? So think about every one of those individual performances. If you had a point guard that had 15 assists, you'd be like, what an amazing night. What an amazing night. And if you had a big, like a Rudy Gobert that had 18 rebounds, you'd be like, God, he was really. If you had a scorer that had 37 points, individually, each one of those stats is a career night, and he has them all at the same time. He doesn't, some triple doubles, not all triple doubles are created equal. Those ones where the guy needs two assists or 2 rebounds and they sort of like reverse engineer it so he gets it. Then the coach takes him out the second he gets the triple double. Like, no. Like Jokic is just blowing up these teams.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying, because when I'm talking about like this is real and like this is like a real thing that he could win the 4th MVP in 5 years, who is the second best player?
Giannis.
But the gap is so far right now.
It's tough. And
what the guy, he's on a 2-win team, Jacoby.
I don't think he even cares about the MVP. I seriously don't think he cares at all.
I mean, I think a lot of people would say Doncic, right? Like Doncic is probably like, when you're saying a good team and kind of does everything. But to wit, Nikola Jokic is averaging 29.7. Doncic is averaging 28. He's averaging 14 rebounds. Doncic is averaging 8. He's averaging 12 assists. Doncic is averaging 8. And I told you he's shooting 56 and 56. Doncic is averaging 41% from the field, 33% from 3. Like, that's what's happened just so far this season. Obviously, these numbers are going to change. Certainly, those percentages are going to go up. History tells us that is the case. But it's just like, even the counting numbers difference between him and everybody else is just appalling right now. Like, I think this is, at least through 10 games, this is the greatest distance we've ever had between who is the best player in the league and whoever is the second best player in the league. Again, just through the first 10 or 11 games.
I could disagree with that. There were some pretty good Jordan years where it was not a conversation. But the fact that we were so concerned about this team. Do you remember no shooting? Are they wasting Jokic? And when they started slow, they're 7-3 now. They're playing pretty well. They're winning games. And if he's up in the top, of the Western Conference, he's going to win the MVP. If this team struggles, and even if Jokic isn't injured, if they fall deep into the play-in, I could see him not getting the MVP. With Kevin Durant's injury.
In fairness, look, if you were to look at my house, I got Jordan stuff everywhere. I'm a Jordan guy. It's not 37, 18, and 15 on those Jordan nights.
No. I think it was a game against the Heat where he caught a pass with his right hand over his head, and it looked like he was a water polo player. You know how the water polo players have the ball above the water and they move it around and then throw a pass? He caught it. He never touched it with his left hand. He caught it like a water polo player and then hit somebody, I forget who it was, I think it was Strawther, cutting the baseline for a dunk. He's amazing. He's amazing.
I'm typing in Michael Jordan career high assists. Do you think he ever had a 15 assist game?
No.
Huh?
No.
You don't think so?
No, unless he was gambling on it. That's the only way that he would get 15 assists. It's if he had $100,000 on getting over 14 assists in a game, and then he'd have 35.
I wonder.
I'm sure Michael Jordan never gambled on basketball. No. I'm sure Michael Jordan never gambled on basketball.
There's no chance.
That's impossible.
All right, Michael Jordan. Hold on.
Career high assists. He must have gotten 15 once.
Hold on.
He must have once.
This is going to be great.
He must have.
Michael Jordan had his most assists in a game versus the Trailblazers March 1989 with 17 assists.
17.
He had 15 or more 5 times. 5 times in his career. Yeah, he just did it Sunday night.
All right, so I think after you say what you feel is real, I'll either co-sign it or not. You do the same. I'm going to say that that does feel real. It feels undeniable. I don't even think he's trying to get the MVP. I don't even think he wants the MVP. It's just impossible not to give it to him at this point. It's impossible. But we'll see. Things change. I'll start with an individual as well. LaMelo Ball, star, perennial all-star, NBA basketball player. Okay. Last game against the Sixers, 38, 8-4. 29.4 points per game, 5th in the NBA. 6.2 assists, 21st in the NBA. These are just, he scored 19 points twice. Those are his lowest offensive outputs in terms of points. Here's his totals. 34 points, 27 points, 19 points, 31 points, 36 points, 19 points, 25 points, 31 points, 38 points. He scored 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in 10 games. 30. And those are just the numbers. When you watch the games, it's unconventional. It's fun. It's a little wild. It doesn't feel like he is a true refined, under control end product of who he's going to be. But there's so much potential there. And if he stays healthy, he's going to be an all-star every single year. I know. But he's every single year.
He is we forgot about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because these last 2 seasons.
With injuries. I think Garland and Ball have sort of reminded us of who they are when they're healthy.
And I also think that I would have to put together, like, it would take me a minute, but I would say off the top of my head, he is certainly in the top 5 of the most fun guys to watch.
Oh, sure.
I said that. I saw that meme a couple of weeks ago that he plays like there's 10,000 chicks in the stand.
Yeah.
And he's like, and they're saying like he's just doing this Chino Hills stuff. Like he's shooting off one leg. He's literally doing anything he wants to do. And he also might be the best combination of player and announcer because their announcer is just off the charts. I mean, when he hit the 3 the other night from the corner with the guts of a cat burglar. And then even when he's walking the bench, he's like, LaMelo Ball, you've always got a chance if he's in. Like he had like 16 points in the last like 9 minutes of that game. Now, again, that Philly team stinks. And so, but the fact that it's like, you can flip them on and between him and Trey Mann, they do some really fun stuff. And then you watch long enough and then you just end up hating Grant Williams again.
He doesn't play as much as I thought he would for them, but LaMelo's shooting 13 threes
It's too much. It's too much.
13 threes a game, hitting 37%. That was the big question mark about his jump shot coming
I co-sign this. Like, this guy was a superior talent, and then he showed us very early in his career. It's just we have forgotten. LaMelo Ball did not fall off of the radar because he wasn't good anymore. He's one of those guys that when he plays, he is good. And now he has gotten better.
That team needs to get better, because Anthony Edwards is playing in conference finals. You know what I mean?
Also, I don't know if you were watching that game the other night. If I was Nick Nurse, I would have gone to jail over the foul. Like, LaMelo, like, maimed the ball handler. And then, like, Charles Lee's like, well, might as well, I got a challenge. Might as well challenge it. And after he maimed the ball handler, they won the challenge on this poke away because they said he hit the ball first.
Yes.
And I was like, you have got, I mean, if I was Nick Nurse, you would have had to get bond for me. I mean, that was, so maybe he gets superstar calls too. Who knows?
I
wonder If that
I
was
always
somebody
say
other than
the more explaining the refs have to do, the more they know they messed up.
Yep.
You know, it's like the longer they're up there. I don't know what the protocol is. They can never smile. They can never say anything interesting. They have to talk like a robot. And I don't know. Sometimes they say the numbers. Sometimes they say the names. But the more explaining that they do, the more I feel like they messed up. That's how I feel about refs.
I'm watching that and I'm like, the idea that you could get a fingertip on a ball and then just truck a guy is crazy.
Yeah, I do feel like the entire Hornets coaching staff watched the replay. They're like, listen, smoke him if you got him. Might as well use the challenge. But might as well use the challenge. They're probably drawing up defensive plays, and they're like right in the middle of the huddle. They're like, wait a second, what?
Yeah,
our ball? Because he touched the ball first? LaMelo Ball, he's real.
Okay, well, you were Mr. Positive, and I guess I was Mr. Positive at the beginning too. I guess we gotta filter these in. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Zion is just gonna become an all-time what if.
Oh.
Like
we're doing that?
I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. It's both hamstrings now that he's hurt. Like, and this was, look at the shape he's in. He's getting in the best shape of his life. And it's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Obviously, look, I'm sure David Griffin feels the same way. It's like, they can't build out around him. It's just holding the franchise hostage with hoping that you're going to be what you. I think this guy could be like first ballot Hall of Famer, top 5, top 10 player in the league. If he could ever just stay healthy, and it's like every year, and then even last year we got teased all the way to the end.
Yep.
And then he had like 40 and 11. And they've got the Lakers. It's like, oh, wow. Look at this. This is what we've been waiting for forever. And then he left. And it was over. And it's like every time you start to be like, okay. And he hadn't started off the season gangbusters by any means.
No.
But now we know these soft tissue injuries, and he's going to be out for a long time, and then he's going to come back and he's not going to trust it. And then how many years? It's like I've stuck with it this whole time. I really have. I've stuck with it this whole time. But I think I've just come to terms with I'm going to look back, and it's just always going to be man, what if that guy could have stayed healthy?
It's hard for me to disagree with this. I did a little research on his history, and he got injured in high school. He got injured in college. Remember when he blew out the shoe? Yeah. He got injured in summer league. And then he gets injured in his rookie year. Like, at some point, you have to say to yourself,
it is what it is.
Is this what it's going to be with him? What's his trade value, right? Because remember, he was going to, like, the Knicks there's like some rumors or whatever, and the Knicks are interested, blah, blah, blah. What would you give up to bring Zion onto your franchise?
I mean, they always keep saying, right? It's long been known that the best ability is availability, and that's what he is deficient in, is being available for you. Look, someone will always take the chance on it. Someone will always take the chance on it. But, I mean, I just keep on going. Like, at some point, he's going to get in the best shape of his life, and he's just going to condition himself. He's going to say, you know what? Whatever my ceiling is, I never want to look back and regret that I didn't hit that ceiling. And I got fooled again with look at him. Look how much weight he's dropped.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the kind of shape he's in. And I'm like, you know what, man? People do grow up. There's always that summer, or there's always that time where guys finally just say, you know what? I'm going to dedicate myself to this. I'm going to eat all the right foods. I'm going to do all the stretches. I'm going to do all the workouts. My body is what is making me these millions of dollars, and I'm finally going to take all of this super seriously because I don't want to look back and regret what has been. And I don't know if he cares.
I wonder. Here's what I want. I want you to refine your statement. What are you saying is real about Zion Williamson?
That it's never happening
It's never happening.
Not in the way that we wanted it to. Not in the way that we wanted it to.
Sometimes, like, remember the big thing coming, but we've never seen a prospect.
Best player on a championship team level player.
Seen a prospect like this before. We've never seen somebody that weighs this much do those things. Sometimes I'm like, maybe there's a reason for that. Yeah. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason we don't see a lot of 300-pound guys windmill dunking, 360 dunking. And when it's right, it's so right. It is an availability issue. It's not a basketball talent issue, because when he is going downhill, I sometimes I watch him get the ball. It's like he's going to finish on the left side of the hoop, and he gets there. You can't stop him from getting there, and you can't stop him once he's there.
Jacoby, I feel like I've been on I've hung on way longer than most. Like, I still believe Zion Williamson could be the best player on a championship level team.
No, you don't.
Now I don't. I'm done. This was it. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. I did. I watched him go. And anybody could go. Look, and
does he get another max deal?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you this. You want to roll your eyes at me saying that? Go pull up YouTube. It's right there. You can go watch that game versus the Lakers last year in the game that mattered most. And that son of a bitch had 40 and 11. He was unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Like, and that's on playing against a team that's got freaking size. Like real guys. Vets, man strength. And it's like he's just roasting these dudes. It's like, all right, here it comes. And then so I was already like teetering. I was already teetering last year, but then I fell for it again. It's like, oh, he's in the best shape of his life and he's coming back, whatever. Bro, we didn't even make it 15 games.
It's almost worse.
I can't do it anymore.
When you see Chet lands horizontally on his hip and he hurt himself. You see it right there. But with Zion, it's like tight hamstring. It's just these lingering things that you just feel will never get over. It's like, it's not one particular player incident like it was in college when he blew out a shoe and he got hurt. It's like, it's just, it doesn't happen during the game. You can't even like see when it happens during the game. And he's just not available. And I feel like he's going to come back.
I refuse to believe he is seriously doing the preventative care. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. I just don't think
next summer in late August, we're going to hear that Zion has lost weight and he spent all offseason rehabbing himself, and it's going to happen again.
I'm done. I'm telling you, I'm done. I'm done. Can't do it.
All right. It's hard for me to disagree with you saying you're done. So there, I go sign it. Your opinion.
All right, go ahead.
This is something that I think is real. Playing the Pistons is no longer an off night for opposing teams. It's very real. Now, they've got 4 wins. They're not tearing up the league. All right.
Hey, they started last season 3-29, so we're already ahead of that pace.
We're trending in the right direction. Obviously, the coaching changes made a huge difference, but they lost by. This is their losses. They lost by 6, 12, 6, 8. The Knicks waxed them 30, 12, and then they lost by 1. So they're in games, and they're in tight games. And I think
Cade Cunningham got maimed on.
Yeah. Cade's triple-double streak. I really feel like, with Dern's been out, back in, but I think he's coming back soon. That'll really help out. I just feel like this team is no longer an easy out, especially in the East. Because what's happened with the East, we know this is real. This isn't even going to be a question, is the Western Conference is just dramatically better right now. I think things will come a little bit more back to normal, but dramatically better. And the Pistons are no longer a night off. The Pistons are no longer an easy win. The Pistons are no longer, let's go to the club the night before. The Pistons are a difficult team to beat. They're 11th in defensive rating. They'll play you tough.
People are still going to screw around. That's J.B. Bickerstaff, because J.B. Bickerstaff's big defensive guy. And he's an adult in the room. And, like, that Monty Williams thing is going to have, like, reverberations for some time, obviously financially for that franchise, but even for all those players, it's like, geez, there's no reason they should have been as terrible as they were. No reason. You watch them and you watch the players that they have, and it just speaks to how truly horrendous Monty was with that team. And the job that, even if you want to say JB Bickerstaff's not, a top-tier coach, he's certainly a good NBA coach who can install a system, a culture, and a defense and get young players to buy in, of which he has. And so I think you're right in the sense that they're not a night off, but they will get a share of wins because you are not in the NBA. And you may encourage players, hey, don't go to the club the night before you play the Pistons, but it does not matter what you say. They are still going to go. You have to, there is it's a rite of passage, right? Like, you have to sneak up on everybody and be a lot better than they thought you were going to be. Teams are still going to screw around. That is one of the games. But you'll be able to get a share of wins because they're not one of these that you could just roll over and play against.
The Pistons a playoff team.
I mean, anything is possible in the East because, look, that's my next one. The East is horrible, Jacoby.
Horrible.
That's my third one. It is horrible, and it's going to stay horrible. Like, I want you to look up at that, and part of this is because of the colossal disappointments that are the Bucks in Philadelphia. Okay? When you took two teams that we expected to be elite and moved them into horrible so far category, but you look up and down right now throughout the Eastern Conference, and I have seen the majority of those teams. Let's set aside Cleveland and let's set aside Boston. Okay? So I'm setting aside those two teams. We agree those teams are great. Those teams are real.
The only teams over 500 in the entire conference. Think about that. I don't even know how that's possible.
Okay, so we're setting them aside. Give me one team you truly believe in that you have watched so far that is not named Cleveland and is not named Boston.
I believe the Knicks will improve. But
they're
now,
4-5 right now, right?
I believe that they will figure it out. They've got new pieces. They're clearly in some sort of adjustment phase, learning each other and figuring it out.
And look, to your point, I would say this: they're like top 5 in offense right now, but they're lower 10, low 10 in defense.
And that's
if we know anything, and if we know anything, that is, and as the year goes on, inevitably that should improve greatly. That number, right? There's not going to be a Tibbs team with a horrendous defense, and so I would take, some heed to the fact that they have been very good offensively thus far, and if they just get better and better defensively, then that will come around. I think I agree with you on that level, but there's nothing we've watched so far that has made us believe. All the topics about them are Cat stinks at rim protection and they gave up too much for Bridges. And it's like, it's all bad stuff. It's like nothing positive.
And no great wins either,
Yeah.
Like no great ones. Like they beat the Pacers.
Right.
They beat the Bucks. Yeah. Like, all right. The Pacers there's the teams that were supposed to challenge the Celtics were the Knicks, the Sixers, the Bucks, the Cavs, and then the Magic had a little buzz. The Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. None of those teams, the Heat are always the Heat. None of those teams are a threat. There's not a single team outside of the Cavs and the Celtics that I would pick in a 7-game series. Not a single, not even close. I wouldn't even pick, none of those would even go 7, even the Knicks right now.
I mean, so even if we're to the Knicks, I mean, we don't even, right now, I'm just saying right now, we don't even have a 4th team.
I don't think we have a 3rd team. We're talking right now. We don't have a 3rd team.
We don't have a 3rd team.
The Knicks don't look good right now. I'm saying I see the Knicks potential.
Yeah. Okay.
But right
They're
now, I wouldn't put them in the same class. I would not put them in the same class as the Cavs and the Celtics.
No.
Not at all.
But
not even close.
But the idea that you think they're going to be there at the end and you believe in them is, I will at least accept that. But I don't think this is a 10-game thing.
No.
I don't. I just think there's going to be this grand separation. The East is lame. My God, it's lame. Just a bunch of okay teams.
There's going to be a team with like 35 wins in the play-in.
Seriously. Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's going to be gross. It's going to be gross. They shouldn't even have it this year. They should be like, you know what? No play
last year. Remember Atlanta was in there, right? Like,
yeah. All right.
It's horrible.
Well,
I mean, look, right now, hey, just for, I just want everybody to know, right now, Dallas is in 11th place. Okay? In the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's outside looking in.
11th place.
11th. They would be third. They would be third in the East.
They're not even in the play-in. All right.
It would be third in the Eastern Conference.
I got one.
I
got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is real. The Bucks are going to turn it around.
Bullshit.
Are going to turn it around.
No, we are not on the same page. No.
Here's who they have coming up.
No.
Raptors, Pistons, Hornets, Rockets, Bulls, Pacers. Should I continue? Hornets again, Heat, Wizards, Pistons, Hawks. Again, Raptors, Pistons, Hornets, Rockets, Bulls, Pacers, Hornets, Heat, Wizards, Pistons, Hawks. They'll be favored in all of those games except maybe against the Pacers.
I'm amending your statement. I am amending your statement. Is this fair? Can I amend?
Please, by all means, amend away.
Because I'm not going to allow you over the next 2 weeks to claim victory because they're beating a bunch of rat teams. So I am going to amend your statement to
3 weeks.
Okay. I'm going to amend your statement to the Bucks are going to fool everybody for 3 weeks.
There you go. Fair.
There.
Fair. That's probably more accurate. Yeah, the Bucks are going to trick us into thinking that the Bucks are back,
but they're not actually
good.
Back. This is simply a function of schedule.
Yes,
they still stink.
They do.
They are 22nd in point differential. They are 20th in offense. They are 22nd in defense. And this is one of the teams that I've seen in person thus far this year. And
you saw a really bad Dame
I
night.
Hated it. I hated the vibe. I hated it.
Dame had another bad night against.
And now he's in concussion protocol.
Yep.
So he's not even going to be around for this week. So depending on how long he's out, Giannis is all pissy. You know, if you don't want to be here, get out of here. And it's
he's talking to I don't know who he's talking to in that. I can't be a teammate. It just can't be. But after the Knicks loss, he was talking about competing. He used the word compete all the time. We're not competing. Someone wants to compete. We need to compete. You got to start looking at the coach. And the Giannis trade stuff, I think it's talked about too much. But it's tough to have 43 points in a loss. It's just hard.
I was laughing so hard. We
got to talk about the handshake.
The two different memes that I've seen this week, the whole what did they expect? And they've got these pictures of Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham sitting next to each other. And then I saw somebody the other day posted their record with and without Thanasis Antetokounmpo. That's what's missing.
What do you make of the Jaylen Brown fake handshake?
I will say, when I saw the video, I laughed.
So
I laughed at it.
I wasn't watching that part of the game.
But I am super immature. Yeah. I love silly shit. So those dad jokes and that kind of, it's so childish. It's so childish. And the fact that Jaylen Brown would get mad about it and call it childish makes me laugh even more. Because I get it. But it's child. Yes, Look, I agree with Jaylen Brown. It is childish. I also think it's funny.
I think it's funny. When I first saw just the handshake clip, I was like, this is hilarious. Giannis, you are my favorite. Amazing. But I then got the context of what happened prior. He elbowed Jaylen Brown in the head. He elbowed him in the head. Imagine you're playing basketball. Someone elbows you in the head hard. Fair. You're hurt. And then you're running back on defense. And then he puts his hand out like, my bad. It was an apology handshake that he did it on. That's the part where it's like, it's, like I always say, it's not about what you do. It's how you do it. That was the wrong time for that. The wrong time. But I did laugh too. I think it's hilarious. Because I, like you, am very immature. If you fall over around me, I will laugh at you.
Right. I'm with it.
Bucks are going to trick us into coming. The Bucks will make us think that they've turned it around, but they haven't really turned it around. That is real. Fair.
Okay. We have to mention the only undefeated team in the NBA. I think you and I are both on the same page. Cleveland as a title contender is real.
Oh, are you actually putting that in? Because I was like, I can't do that. They're 12-0.
Understood. But I think I even saw yesterday some of this. This is very 60-win Hawks feeling, right? Like that. And which, interestingly enough, was a Mike Budenholzer team. Atkinson was a Budenholzer guy, right? Yep. This whole idea that, like, hey, this is, I think there is a sentiment of, like, this is a cute story, right? And, like, yeah, they're off to a great start, and Atkinson's, new coach. He's got all these guys feeling really good. Darius Garland playing at this very high level. Their core four guys are all wrapped up and all this kind of stuff. But I think when you look at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, as we talked about already, and then you look at, the divide is so great in terms of their record. But even if you just watch them, very early in the season when we did our overreactions, I said I was Knicks over Celtics. That's how I started. And I said I should have been higher on the Cavs. That was just very early that I thought that. Now, as this is extended, and the thing I'll say about this team is a little different. I think this team, I do think they could win 60. I think it could be like that good of a team this year. And I also think that Atkinson has gotten all of them. Like, every once in a while you read about this stuff, and I get it. They're 12-0, so of course all the vibes are good. But every article you read, it's like Darius Garland is having fun again. He's found joy, and hey, this is how he has staggered him and Donovan Mitchell, and him and Donovan Mitchell are on the same page. And even I was reading yesterday about their game against the Warriors, just because I'm trying to learn more about how Atkinson's doing this, the thing he's changed, the culture he's changed, whatever else. And he was saying, they were up by 40 on the Warriors, beating their ass, whatever, and then played miserable in that second half. He's about to go in there. He's like a New York guy, real blunt guy. He's going to go rip the shit out of them, right? And there's this whole article about how DeMarre Carroll, who is on his staff, I don't know how many people knew that, but DeMarre Carroll's on his staff. It's like, no. We won. Just let it go. Just let it go. And it's one of these insights into, right? It's one of these insights into how a guy evolves over time. And also one of the things he said was, it's been invaluable for me to have DeMarre there. And it's great to have a guy that was a player in the league for a long time. Because sometimes it's moments like that, right? And some of those guys are just wired like that, right? Like, yes, they won the game, but they'll make everybody feel bad after the game because that's not our standard. That's not what we're supposed to do. And then guys just end up resenting you. I remember, do you know Greg McElroy, the former Alabama quarterback? I saw him he was on that SEC network. Do you know him? You might know him personally.
Don't know
right?
him personally.
Matt, you don't know
him at all. Yeah.
Okay, but you know him.
Yeah, of course.
So McElroy was saying, he's telling this story about them winning the national championship, right? he's talking about how it's like the end of the game, some stuff happens, whatever. He said, and then they go to the locker room, and Nick Saban's like, seniors, you'll remember this for the rest of your life. All that you accomplished, the undefeated season, the SEC championship, the national championship. Congratulations. Congratulations. Unbelievable job. To the rest of you, that is not how we finish a football game. He's going, no, they won the national championship, Jacoby. All right.
We don't have another game for 6 months, Coach.
They had just won the national title, and he's just ripping them because, and it's what I thought about when I'm reading this Atkinson thing, because it's like they were up by 40, they did all the stuff, and then they took their foot off the gas, they couldn't turn it back on, and so then the Warriors end up, outscoring them by 1,000,000 in the second half, and a game that, should have been just a drubbing, and he's like, about to go jump them for how they played in the second half. And DeMarcus like, no. And I'm like, you know what? Every story, even a story like that's coming out about the Cavs, I view it through this prism of, man, this just feels all right. You know what I mean? These players are all happy. The coach is like super self-reflective about how much he's changed as a coach and different things he used to do and best practices and being around Team USA and dealing with stars and all that kind of stuff. And even then, like the policing of like, no. We're not ruining this. You're not going in there yelling at anybody. We're keeping the good vibes. We're 12-0. We'll get it next time. There's a way to get your point across. And I'm like, I don't know. I like every story that comes out about the Cavs is another one that makes me believe in this more. So how about this? I'll amend it.
Okay.
That's a 60-win basketball team.
I agree.
Wow.
We were watching the Bulls Cavs yesterday. At no point did I think the Bulls were going to end up winning that game. It was very tight at the end. At no point did I feel like the Bulls were going to win that game. That's how confident I am in this team. Now, Jared Allen's hurt, so we'll see what happens with him. But Mobley's been playing great, and I really believe this is a dominant team. And if you are the Celtics, like we said, it is the Cavs and the Celtics and everybody else in the East. If you are the Celtics, you played them in the playoffs last year. They did not challenge you. Now, obviously, they were injured, but they posed some problems.
When also, this is just all both, but and this applies to the West as well. Even though it is much more competitive, it's all wide open, man. It is. It is all wide open.
The East does not feel wide open. The East feels like it is the Cavs and the Celtics and everybody else.
You're still a sprained ankle away, though.
You can say that about anybody, but like I feel like I'd be. It's going to be the Cavs and the Celtics are head and shoulders above everybody else right now, currently in the East, and that's not even up for debate. Not even up for debate. All right, but I see the Cavs with Atkinson on the Atkinson diet, if healthy, posing a lot of problems with their size and quickness for the Celtics. They are strong where the Celtics are very strong with their wings, and obviously the Cavs are very strong at point of attack and at the rim.
What's the next one you believe in?
This one doesn't fit neatly into this exercise that we're doing. Okay, but the Emirates Cup starts this evening.
Emirates.
And what I believe is real is like the jury's still out on this whole thing.
No, it's not.
Let me say this. It's additive, right? So like, would I prefer it go back and not exist? Sure. But it's still kind of like, like I'm not going to watch the games tonight any harder because the court's different. It's round one of the group stage. It still feels like sort of insignificant. It feels insignificant until the 2 games in Vegas.
Say that to Darvin Ham, who wears his in-season tournament ring, his IST ring, even though it's no longer the IST, right? It's the Emirates Cup.
Emirates.
Emirates. I was throughout the season last year, there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of talk about, I don't even know how this works. And, people don't even want to take the time to understand how it works. And then there was even a lot of like NBA players that were saying they didn't know. And then it all got down to the end. And I actually was out in Vegas for it. And when I went and I saw the spectacle that it was, and I saw Halliburton ascend to big stardom because of it, and when I landed in Vegas and every billboard and every side of building everywhere is players and Halliburton and the IST, and then like outside, Nelly's playing a concert and like everybody's walking over from the Park MGM to this T-Mobile Center or whatever. And like, I got so caught up in it and I was like, okay, like during the regular season, like a night like tonight, it begins and there's not like buzz about
the
it.
Courts
like,
look different. The courts look different. It's like, oh, the courts are going to look different.
The Emirates Cups. And I don't think that I still believe that there needs to be some reason for fans to really care, right? Like that's my opinion. My opinion is that you're still going to, because I do think that at the end, just because it's cool, just because it's a spectacle, just because it is, for something, people are going to watch that anyway because it's cool. But that's not until it gets to like the final four teams and then the championship game. But I still think the next step is to make beyond the guys making money like that. I don't care if these guys make more money. And no fan cares if these guys make more money.
Well, it's always fun for the guy at the end of the bench that makes, $400,000 on a two-way. Like that part's cool. I like to hear that.
It's a way for them to care, which is what matters.
They're also not in the game. So
I also think they need to come up with a reason that I, as a fan, care. There has to be some bonus for me winning this thing, right? Whether that has to do with playoff seeding, whether that has to do with draft capital, whether that has to do with something to, some salary cap thing, some advantage that I have because I win this thing so that my organization cares deeply about winning this. Beyond the players are going to because they're the ones that benefit, okay? And they will care about it and they will play harder for it. So I do like that. And coaches will also treat the games much more like playoff games than they do regular season. All of that is great. To me, the next step is, why do I care? Because I'm not bragging to anyone. My team won the Emirates Cup or whatever.
It'll be a nice day.
There just needs to be some kind of bonus to it. But I do think they make that thing feel so big. It was awesome. I will say it was awesome to be there. And the whole, we got lucky. Pacers Bucks was, and there was a lot of smoke there that had already taken place.
Yep.
They didn't, kind of had each other's necks. And then Halliburton went crazy in that game. And then you saw the Lakers just annihilate Zion in that game. And the Pelicans win by like 50 in that game. With the concerts going outside and the stage set up and it was all just odd, but I was like, this is going to work. Like people are going to care more about this than I thought they were. But I do think the next step is for some reason for a fan to really care.
It's interesting because I'm psychoanalyzing myself here, right? Like, why do I have doubts about this? Because it literally is simply additive. They're not taking anything away. No. The games you're still going to have 82 games, and some of them are going to be on a cooler court, and there is going to be this nice weekend in Vegas. So it's hard to sort of critique it and say it should not exist. But I just feel like it's like tasting a sauce, and it's like it needs something. Like it needs I don't know what it needs, but it needs something else for this to come together and be a perfect sauce. Like I don't know what
that's what it is. No,
what could it be?
Stakes.
Like, oh, if you're a second apron team, then you get a mid-level exception. Like, I don't care. Like, as a fan,
why did you go into nerd voice?
Because
Do you think only nerds talk about the second apron?
Now, here's my question: why is it called an apron? Like, what? When I think of aprons, I think of like the kitchen. Why would you ever wear a second apron? First of all, why is it an apron?
Be careful, Harrison Butker.
Why is it called an apron?
Harrison Butker said, "Who doesn't need two?"
Well, still, I don't want it to be called an apron anymore. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna write an email. I'm just gonna send it to
the penalty.
Adam.stilver@gmail.com.
Yeah, right.
See if it works.
All right. My last one. Oh boy. So I mean, you dipped your feet a little in the water of the hey, I still believe in the Knicks. So I feel like I get tiny bit of a homer pass. Tiny bit.
Sure.
We could do a little 30 for 30 here, Jacoby. What if I told you that there was a team that was 7th in offense, has moved all the way in the top 5 in defense, and their top four minutes played players are Santi Aldama, Jake LaRavia, Jalen Wells, and Scottie Pippen Jr.
Those are the top 5 minutes played players?
Yes.
No. Check that again.
Yes.
What about Jaren Jackson Jr.?
He's 5.
Huh. Foul trouble.
That's not true. Santi Aldama, Jake LaRavia, Jalen Wells, Scottie Pippen Jr. This team is, I think, 5th in the West right now. They're 7-4. No Ja Morant, no Desmond Bane, no Marcus Smart. That's 3 starters. No Gigi Jackson, no Vince Williams. I'm letting you jump on the train right now. I'm letting you jump on if you want to, Jacoby.
Oh, well, so
but I will tell you, look, you're either jumping on the train or it's hitting you, because not only do they have the secret weapons of Jay Huff and Yuki Kawamura.
Wait a second. When you say jumping on the train, something came to mind. I was watching a Grizzlies game on League Pass. It was halftime.
Please.
Come on, everybody. Let's ride it.
That's right. That was at the very beginning, the opening season.
Come on, everybody.
Game. That's right.
Let's ride it.
The Quad City DJs were actually prophets.
Got to ride the train now.
Their top 4 guys would be like not even playing big minutes when their roster is healthy. They are doing this with their depth. They are in 5th place right now with their depth, not even with their stars. Let them get their stars back. Holmgren's gone down. This team is winning the Western Conference, Jacoby.
What?
This team is winning the Western Conference. Jump on now. You can either look.
I just jumped off the train that I jumped on, and it's moving. And I was like, I'm fine.
No,
winning the Western Conference.
Winning the Western Conference. They are winning the Western Conference. They don't even have their guys yet. Let me tell you something about the secret weapon that nobody knows about. Tomas Ayasola. Now, you may not know who this is. Jacoby, I don't expect you to. If you don't know who Tomas Ayasola is.
I do not.
But Tomas Ayasola was in Bundesliga. And he won Coach of the Year.
Oh.
And then he headed over to the Champions League. And he won that title. And he won Coach of the Year.
Tomas.
And then he went over to the Euro League.
What did he do there?
And he won the Euro Championship.
Tomas.
And he won Coach of the Year. And then this summer, Tomas Ayasola was hired by the Memphis Grizzlies.
Mm.
And with no players, they are first in points in the paint. They are second in assists. They are third in points per game. They are third in field goal percentage. And they are sixth in offensive rating. With Scottie Pippen Jr., Jake LaRavia, Santi Aldama, and Jalen Wells, who was the 39th pick in the draft.
Okay.
They hired...
Okay. Hold on.
Hey, where does everybody get their basketball ideas? Where do they get them, Jacoby? They get them from Europe. So what if I told you that a team went and hired the biggest genius in Europe? And then he took a guy who was on a two-way, a guy who didn't get a contract extension, a guy who was the last pick of the first round, and a guy who was the 39th pick in the draft as the top 4 minutes played guys on a team, and has got them 7-4 and 5th in the West without their players.
Okay. So they play the Lakers, and then they play the Warriors on Friday. And
Probably
then they play
losses.
The Nuggets on Sunday.
They're going to be.
And then they play the Nuggets again on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So they could be 7-8.
Yep.
You know, they really could. They really
Long
could.
season.
They really could. So enjoy your time.
I've seen the glimpse. Let them get their guys back.
I just want to make sure I heard you right. Winning the Western Conference. So you mean like at going to the NBA Finals, or do you mean the number one seed after the regular season?
No, they'll be the 1 seed. The 1 seed.
The Memphis Grizzlies will be the 1 seed in the Western Conference. You're a crazy person. An absolute lunatic.
Mark it down. It's November 12th, 2024.
Mark it down.
Yep. Mark it down.
That's ridiculous.
November 12th, 2024.
Absolutely ludicrous.
All right. Who is? No. You can't tell me I'm ridiculous and then not tell me who is. Who is?
Who's what?
Say it. Who is it?
Is this going to win the Western Conference?
Yeah, say it. No, number 1 seed. Say it.
Number 1 seed in the Western Conference is going to be the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
If everything works out with Durant and his calf.
Oh, if everything works out. Okay. I'm counting on a 40-year-old to stay healthy. Okay.
All right. Well, you're counting on people to come back.
They're 24.
I'm sticking with the Thunder. Hartenstein comes back.
All right. You'll be playing at center 2 weeks.
All right. So you know how we all love certain basketball players, right? NBA ones. Just like maybe they're not all-stars, but something about them speaks to you. And there was a basketball player that I used to watch play street ball, summer ball at Kingdom in Harlem when he was going into 9th grade. They called him the 8th grader on the court. And I'll never forget this. R.I.P. Homicide, Corey Williams. Had a cup of coffee with the Raptors. Great basketball player in Australia, recently passed. But his name was Homicide. And I watched this basketball player go chest to chest with Homicide. The man's name is Homicide. When he was going into 9th grade. I loved him. He went to Cincinnati.
Oh, right.
And then when the Knicks had a draft pick, they announced who the draft pick was. With whatever number the Knicks select. Lan. And I thought he was going to say Lance Stevenson. But he said Landry Fields. And it was one of the most disappointing moments of my life. And I've always loved Lance Stevenson. Always, always, always. Born ready. He's resurfaced.
Oh, I know.
Just in case people listening to the Mismatch right now are not familiar with how Lance Stevenson has resurfaced, Jesse, our producer, has a little sample.
Look at me, shots for all the bars, and I'm but the bar, Hollywood. I'm with all the stars, I got all the cars, Universal. We just
So here's what's real. Lance Stevenson is the best NBA basketball player rapper.
I have that on my phone. I'm not kidding.
How do you have it on your phone?
It's on Spotify. I have it.
So you saw the clip on Instagram or whatever.
I saw the
and
video.
Then you were like, let me add this to my playlist.
I had Lance in Memphis. I love Lance. I love him.
No one loves Lance more than I do. And I was at an ESPY Awards after party and he was there. And I was like, I gotta say something. I have to say something. And he was alone. And I went up to him. I was like, Lance, I used to watch you at the Kingdom. I'm just such a big fan. You know, Dave Jacoby from ESPN. I talk about you all the time. And I'm thinking, like, the amount of tweets that I've tweeted about this guy, like, he must be aware that I'm talking about him all the time. And he did not give a shit at all. He's like, what? Why are you talking to me right now? Why are you here in my face talking to me? And I was just like, thank you so much, big fan. And then walked away. God, I love Lance Stevenson.
Dude.
It was a great verse. Great verse.
Easily the goofiest guy ever. Like truly goofy. And to the point where there used to be, there's a story, Tony Allen told me the story that they used to be in practice and he would walk up to Lance and he'd be like, like start talking to him, whatever, like just get Lance to, because the coaches all just would always get mad at Lance because he's goofy. He's just, he's the anti-coach's pet, right? He's the kid that's throwing spitballs and doing the stuff in the class, right? He's the distraction, okay? But he's like trying to be on his P's and Q's. This is when Dave Yeager is the coach. And so he would say that Tony Allen and Zebo, they would like go over to Lance and they would like start talking to him. And then they would wait for Lance to like say something back to him. And they'd be like, Lance, pay attention, man. We're trying to win a game here. Coach is trying to tell us. And so they would just get the coach to hate him even more.
He's got,
and he looks like he's trouble anyway, right? Like he always looks guilty of doing something, and he's goofier than all hell. So he had no chance, but he bounced around, and he is.
The highlights are so great, and the lowlights are even better
good
from his career. Yes. And I will say this: he's got a little brother who's like, I don't know about the 13 and 14-year-olds or whatever, who's good and who's bad, but he's making a little bit of noise. Do you know what his little brother's name is? Lance.
That's amazing.
Lantz.
Oh,
Lance.
I love it.
Best rapper. Man, best basketball player rapper, Lance Stevenson. Great job, Lance.
The video's great too. He's bopping.
Oh yeah. No edits. One take, Lance.
No, I'm with you.
Oh, that's great.
All right, we will reconvene later in the week to go over everything we loved and loathed from the week. Thank you to our producer, Jesse Lopez, as always. And Jacoby, I'll talk to you later.
That's right.